By the right of the council, by the will of the Force, welcome back into another episode of the Galaxy Famous, Halcyon-approved Jedi Talk podcast. And we were teasing the gentleman to my right, a very special episode this evening on May the 25th here in Central Florida. I am Tom Oakery. Follow us at Jedi Talk Podcast on Instagram, youtube.com/Jedi Talk. I am going to introduce the high and regular council here very quickly.
Hi, it's Brad. Let's move on.
Brad?
Yes.
Hughes?
Hughes, yes.
Evan
Brad
T.
Hughes.
Boucher?
I'm retiring. Hello there, in lieu of recent events. So
Oh.
I really am.
Evan, could you introduce the gentleman to your right?
I would be honored to. So the gentleman to my right, we have the pleasure of speaking to in person for the first time, and actually in his person, a one, the only, Adam Reilly.
Very glad to be here with the council. Thank you very much.
Thank you
We're
for joining.
Happy to have you.
Council peoples.
Yes.
We're beyond excited. This is a dream come true for all of us. I can say that for all of us. We adore you,
We do.
and we had the most fun of my adult life with you on the Halcyon.
That's not an exaggeration.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
That was how we tell everybody. I was like, it was the most fun I've ever had in my life, and you were like by far the standout of that first.
Brad and I did our first voyage separately from Evan and Taylor. First thing I text him was, Lieutenant Croy, oh my God. And I sent a picture of you.
Yep.
And then he's like, that's the one I had.
I'm like,
so
that's
and
the
then
Croy I had
we
too.
talked
Yeah.
for months. And I'm not exaggerating. Go back and listen to our episodes.
Me and Evan did a two-parter that was
We did 4 hours that were non-spoilers. 4 hours
We
of
did
me non-spoilering it to him.
in a row.
In a row.
It was
Just
it
one
was one
sitting.
episode talking about it, non-spoiler, and then when we came back.
Once they did it finally after we did it, then we did another like 4 hours.
Three or
or
4,
3
yeah.
hours.
So we've
Yeah.
talked about you a lot.
I appreciate it. I like being talked
Mostly
about
good
in that
things.
regard.
Mostly.
Oh,
Yeah.
all good things.
all
yes.
good things.
Well, and it feels really good to have the chance to be able to receive it in person, because I think everybody there feels the authenticity of those connections, feels how fun it is. And I actually find that the cast doesn't really get the chance to have that decompression moment.
Put that a little closer to you.
Okay, that's
back a
we
little
like
bit.
the sound.
I like this.
Right there. So you can switch
ASMR.
that.
Okay.
Yes, that's a switch.
AMSR.
There we go.
There you go.
You know what? I'm having trouble being like, wow, I can hear myself so clearly.
Well, see, that's the thing. You don't have to do headphones if you don't want.
Yeah, you can
so
do-
that's another
some
thing.
But then I miss y'all, and I need
I know.
y'all.
That's
Well, we're here
true.
for you.
Good to be receiving it in person. I'm so glad to be Adam and the chance to talk about it, because frankly, it's all I talked about with my peers and colleagues for 2 years. It was our everything. Wow.
That's nuts.
Well-
we will definitely get into that.
Yes.
But we need to address the fact that we haven't done an episode since the announcer of the closure. And
Closure of Star Wars Galactic
Starcruiser, yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone who
Lady
listened to that
if you've been
doesn't know
living
that
under
right
a
now.
rock, yeah, that's what we mean.
I'm going to let you talk on it the most, because this is like, we all love the Halcyon. We all love
Yeah.
the Starcruiser. But like I said on the last show, it's like, this was your thing. And who would have thought that one of the last things I said on the last show was
I know.
like, no matter what happens, when this thing closes, we all have to do it together. And
Yep.
then
and me and
3
Tom were
days
like,
later-
oh, we're not saying that because it's never happening. And then,
I was wrong. He's the only one that was bold enough to say it, but
yeah,
I said it for a while. I got nervous when I started seeing changes and people leaving, and I worked
Yeah.
for Disney for a long time, and so I kind of know like a test isn't a test, and like when they start implementing things slowly, it got me nervous, and I saw people walking away, and I saw discounts, and I'm like, that's not good. That's not good. You don't see that on anything else. So like the fact that
we were happy with the discounts.
we were very happy with it.
yeah, that's
But
how we
like-
got our second voyage
Yeah.
with the discount.
But it made me nervous. And so I was saying for a while, I was like, I don't think that's good. I don't think it's a good sign. I'm not saying it's closing like next week, but I don't think that's a good sign. And I hate that I was right. It makes me so mad.
Yeah.
I said it forever. I was like, this
know.
is
yeah, well, no, you didn't want to be right. No one wanted you. Well, none of us wanted you to be right. All those idiots out there in Wyoming that never got to see it. They're like, oh, see,
we
What
told
happened
you
in
in Wyoming.
Damn.
I don't know. I just picked a random
Jesus,
state.
dude.
I picked a random state. I
It's
don't
the
know.
lowest density state.
There you go.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that's
The
why.
There's
least amount of people.
Less
who
people
did
you could
that.
get upset.
There you go.
Yeah,
Less amount of people to make upset.
yeah.
That's amount of people. That's
Yeah.
true.
But
So
Do you
that's-
have anything
yeah.
you want to say about it before we
No,
dive in? I know it's
no,
sad,
I mean-
and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I want to save my thoughts. What we've said has already been kind of said by a lot of the community,
Yeah.
right? Look, I'm feeling every bit of disappointment that you guys are. I've put it on there online. I've said my piece. Adam's here with us today, so I really don't want to dwell on that because I want to hear the Adam Reilly story, right?
If I may,
yes.
I thought about it. And I think it's somewhat fitting. I think it's a worthwhile topic to talk about. I don't mind to be someone here to help in the morning or whatever we got to do.
I mean, if we're going to talk about this is probably the best person to have with us.
You're not wrong.
Under this roof. So,
you're not wrong.
Evan, again, Adam, as you've seen, and I'm sure if you recall interactions, Evan, lived and breathed, the Halcyon, the Starcruiser.
That's an understatement.
I remember it well, so don't be mistaken.
Really? That was
absolutely
the eighth voyage ever, and you can remember it. That's what made all of you so special. You can remember those things, whether it's 2 hours later or not 2 years, but a year and a half later. Like, it's incredible what you can retain.
I think it's the nature of what we were doing there, and
it has to be.
And even looking at y'all's faces now, that's kind of like the way the brain works anyway, which I think is
not mine.
Maybe a smart brain, but not our brain.
I'm dumb.
But I just mean you get that drop, and then the whole flood of memory comes back, or a little concentrate of something can lead to whole larger lane of thought, and it's interesting because. Maybe someone will contact me who wants to talk about something, and I won't remember the face, but they'll talk about the thing, and then I'll remember.
Yeah, then it snowballs.
Yeah, and it was such a special moment. It's not like there were tons of people. Right. I won't speculate as to whether that was an issue or not, but it was so special each and every time. So it's not uncommon that you will be remembered for your time there. The audience will.
That's wild.
And some of the
audience,
my
brain doesn't work like that. Like, I could not. Like, I'll remember faces, but I've had people that through the podcast, people from high school have reached out to me and oh my god, we went to our high school, and I'm like, yeah. Couldn't tell you who they were.
Well, high school trauma often leads to blocking that out.
We had fourth period together, and I don't remember your face at all. We talked every day for 3 years. You're like my best friend. Don't remember you.
Yeah.
So the thought of remembering someone even a day later, who was it? Was it Wraith on our last voyage that kept remembering, or was it Captain Keevan?
No, it was Keevan.
Well,
Wraith did too, but
remember my Porg's name.
Yeah, his toy Porg.
The
whole voyage, she knew his name.
That was wild to me. It's insane. You guys are special, man, and I don't think you guys realize how special you are.
And I don't think you guys are ever will get enough praise. I said it on one of my 15,000 Instagram posts that I've made last week.
Because that's what wants me to go back. That's what I mourn the most about this incredible immersive interaction with real life Star Wars characters. I mean, Christ. The moments I had, just even the tiniest interaction, seeing you interact with a little kid. The one that you remembered later on, I can't remember his name. Trevor. We always try to figure. I
think
out.
It was Trevor.
Yeah.
I looked it up.
We always forget.
Even seeing that kind of stuff, it's just this happens nowhere else.
Well, here to me, this is the biggest testament of how special you guys were. Is we're all lifelong Star Wars fans, and we actually, oddly enough, just happen to love the sequel trilogy. All of us
love it.
And so you're in the middle, not in the middle of it because it's over now, but in the throes of it still being around and fresh on our minds. You have Rey and Kylo on the ship that show up ultimately, right? I didn't care.
Mm-hmm. No.
Because the other interactions were so much more impactful and meaningful. And that says so much that you can take a lifelong Star Wars fan's attention away from these iconic characters.
Especially me,
That's wild,
because Kylo is my favorite character. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really care that he was there. I was here for Croy and for Wraith and for all the new characters. And they've made their way into our top 10 characters, a few of them, maybe 15 Star Wars characters of all time.
Of course. It's wild, man.
It's insane.
Just need action figures for the wall.
Yep.
Well, it's funny you say that.
You mentioned that.
Funny you say that. So we put in 9-10. He'll see it. But she actually makes these.
Oh wow!
And she is currently working on yours, and we will be getting it to you soon.
That's him on day 3.
After Kylo. See, that's another thing I've always wanted to know.
So
even
once I get this, we'll get in contact with you. We'll get
those
it
are incredible. But even
she made
before,
it especially for you. She makes the cards from your guys' face.
That's so cool.
The
whole cult, wasn't there a culture around this?
100%.
I mean, the fact that we can talk about it right now, the way that people loved it. I think there was just so much good that happened. I can't even believe how people responded to this. And that was honestly, as a performer who's performed live their whole career and doing theater, I got really sick of doing a thing that everybody hated. You do like an old play that only you like, and everybody sits there kind of cold and dead. And this was a piece where I could see what I was doing, literally hand it to someone and see if they liked it or not. Usually the answer was yes, which was a lovely surprise, and then affect it toward them, for them. And I think that's probably what we all want out of entertainment, where it's all probably going.
Yeah,
frankly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Where it's going,
I
that's
think,
exactly
I
right.
think in about 10 or 15 years, we're going to look back and be like, I can't believe that closed.
Yeah.
I think it's heading in that direction. I think you're absolutely
It
right.
has to
Like
be.
this super hyper immersive storytelling
See-
stuff, I think is going to be a thing. I think the House Sound is ahead of its time.
That's the thing is
Yeah.
too. Like everyone who has done it has come off singing its praises.
By the way,
But then-
shouts out to Elizabeth for the figure. Forgot. Sorry.
Was Disneyland ahead of its time?
Yeah,
They didn't quit on that.
that's what I said in one of my
Oh.
posts. That's what I said in one of my posts.
Logic.
Everyone told Walt that's going to fail.
It's the
That's
first thing
dumb.
I thought
Don't
of
do
when
it.
I
It's
heard
gonna
that
fail.
news. I went back to
Yep.
think of like, what's
And
the
did Walt
boldest
give
thing
up?
Disney did?
Walt
Absolutely
didn't give up, and look, it's still here.
Different
70
economic
years
climate.
later.
Yeah, that makes me think,
Yeah.
what's the difference? And,
Like
and
this is
why?
it's the most
Yeah, the
ambitious
climate, the
thing they've ever
pandemic.
done since then, and they gave up. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel the need to speculate as to why it all happened the way it happened. I don't care because it doesn't make a difference, and that's a
Oh, I know.
conversation we
No.
can have on a different
the
episode.
more I
That's
speculate, the more depressed I get. So
I know.
won't.
Every time I quit bringing it up to you because I was like, God, he's going to be like on suicide watch or
No,
something.
and I have to drive past it every day on my way to work.
Mhm.
So I think the first 3 days, I was fine driving. Then as soon as I could see it,
I saw some tire treads.
Started
Were
crying.
those you? The ones in the ditch right in front of the house scene?
yep, we tried building a ramp to
Trying to take
jump
the-
the fence.
Jump.
Yeah, it didn't work out so well.
Didn't work out so well,
But,
yeah.
Evan Knievel.
Right.
So,
But,
Jump in the house.
Adam, what were your thoughts when you heard that news? When that fateful, what was it, Friday?
Yeah.
Last Friday?
It's been a week. It was Friday. I got the information shoved in my face from my fiance's phone,
Yeah.
and I was like, "What?"
There was a lot of shoving. There was a lot of shoving that day. There was a lot of shoving in the
I bet.
subsequent days. I'll step back and look at it a little bit more macro.
Of course.
People have a lot of opinions. People have a lot of feelings, and I'm not here to devalidate or take any of that away. I think you're alluding to this a little bit, and Disney is just one of those larger powers. It's like a giant planet in the solar system. Maybe it's affected by some things here or there, but other than that, we're affected by it, and questioning why or wanting it to be different, or part of my personal journey in this project has been learning to come to accept that. And I do think it's just going to be this niche, beautiful novelty piece, and only people like yourselves are going to be like, I went and
I
I
got to
know
do
it,
it.
and I have this.
Yeah.
And people will speak of it so fondly, and I think it will have children in different forms, maybe not as invested, maybe not as long, because I don't want to get too detailed or critical, but I do think the sustainability, regardless, was something that needed to probably be tweaked. So
I totally get it.
And that's the thing. Why not give it a chance to be tweaked? But they never did.
Yeah.
So, but when you said like this will eventually have children, this is the children of a few things. Like I don't know if you ever heard of the Adventurers Club.
of course, yeah.
it's
And,
like
Oh, come
that
on!
kind of
Don't
thing.
insult
Like,
him.
Well-
I don't know. That's a niche thing.
there's a
so-
lot of talk from among the the actors
True.
of other works, because we're all still Disney people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You have to be. You have
yeah.
to love that. You can't do that job without loving it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no way.
Yeah. And
And it comes across.
right. There's so much love in that show.
Yeah.
And I certainly loved it. I loved the brand. I loved working for the company in that way. And I was grateful for the stage, basically, right? Like this piece, more than anything ever in my entire career, defined me, shaped me, gave me other tools for other moments and other things, because I don't really think of myself as just an actor anymore. There's a lot coming from it all. So, you could we will talk about this for forever.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it's just that
100%.
type of thing.
I did a panel at not the last one because the last one was in Europe, but the one before that in Anaheim,
In
the Star
22.
Wars Celebration
May of
2022.
22, yeah.
And I did a panel about Galaxy's Edge, but at the end of it, because we had just gotten off
Yeah,
a few
literally
weeks
weeks before, yeah.
I did like a shoehorn of everything I could remember on the Halcyon. And every question I got after that was people coming up asking me questions about the Halcyon, including Matt Martin. He was at the panel. You know who Matt Martin is, the creative executive at Lucasfilm?
Cut this part out. Wait a minute.
Noted. Got it.
But he came up and was asking me questions about stuff, and I was just blown away that like everyone was asking questions about that. Everyone was like, "What is this thing?" Because they'd only been open like what, a month at that point.
2 months.
2
because
months?
he went March.
Yeah, it was in March.
Yeah, that's
you guys
right. So
went in
3
May.
months.
It was
Yep.
March 1st, wasn't it? The opening day, March
Yep.
1st.
Sounds about
Okay.
right, yeah.
Yeah, so it had only been like 2 months, and people were just so curious about it, and it was like, wow, it was actually really fun. I'm like, it was actually really awesome. Like, you should go do it.
Yeah.
I was so proud. We worked really, really hard on that piece because it was frankly just the content and then the nature of it took so much construction and so much revamping. I remember around the last round of changes, I almost just fell down to the ground. I was
my
like,
God.
we got so many different scripts, but that's what I mean. It just like really raised the bar of what I was going to be capable of. Maybe that wasn't always a good thing, but nonetheless, I stand before you changed by it, as it changes everyone who comes into contact with it. It's like a weird like temple over there.
How drastic were those changes? Pretty like severe to the point where like you were in the middle of the night. Like, how the hell am I going to remember that?
This piece helped me do better about not worrying so much about that stuff, and you need to wire in your brain neurologically like, I'm going to have success in that moment.
Okay.
So I had more nights practice where I was like, how am I? And then I sort of just put that together, so I feel so much more comfortable ad-libbing, going off script, being with people. All of that's just like a given now. Mm-hmm. So I guess to answer the question, the changes would be more like it was a workshop. There were some play testing, and it's Disney, so they would ask these invited people in-house how they thought it went, and then we'd have a revamp and make some changes. And
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would just say it evolved and morphed.
Okay.
And this is a true testament to another thing that is so amazing about this piece. So much of it was guaranteed from the start because the Imagineers just did a brilliant job.
Oh my God.
As an actor, I barely had to fill in a lot of blanks. They were different. The blanks to fill in were the audience and what was going to be different that time. But I've never been so supported in that everything you're referencing is there in front of your eyes. Every single moment and place on this ship is a set and a scene, and you get to touch the props and do the thing and like have the moment before instead of faking the moment before. So
That's
true.
Do you have an improv background? Did you ever do improv?
No, I have a
That's
really
shocking to me.
classical
How?
training background.
That's surprising me because
Yeah. 'Cause
again,
you're like the king of improv on the ship. Like,
I would say it's
it
more
might appear
unscripted.
that way. Is it actually? Because the thing that shocked me, I'm surprised to hear that you don't have an improv background, especially comedy improv, because you cracked me up multiple times.
Yes.
And
So many
that's
times,
and
so many
I
times.
used to do stand up comedy. I was a comedian, and
Yeah,
it is
y'all are
hard.
hilarious. I was laughing so hard listening to this podcast all day.
We
did it.
We made someone laugh finally.
I can die happy.
I'm actually shocked to hear that because being funny is not easy, and especially in that kind of environment. So that's
Well,
surprising to me that you don't.
Well, maybe some people just are and some people aren't.
I agree with
but
that.
there's a place for everyone, and there's endless interpretations of every moment. So you can have a funny Croy, you can have a not funny Croy, you can have a funny 2 days, you can have a not funny 2 days. I saw it all, and me being a hammy, like superficial actor, I was upset when people wouldn't laugh, but then it forced me to do something else. Closer. I will say, the thing that I can really credit to feeling comfortable in the free form is the practice I had at the night bus at Harry Potter World.
Oh,
I didn't know you were there.
You did the
Dang.
night bus?
I've opened Diagon Alley, Galaxy's Edge, and I opened Starcruiser.
See, I knew you opened Edge because we would see you there all the time
Yeah.
as a lieutenant. So I knew that's
My
where I
wife's
saw
a
you first.
huge Harry Potter
So-
fan. I've got the Metallica tattoo. She's
Yeah.
got Harry Potter
well,
tattoos.
if y'all ever went and took a picture at the night bus, check, because it could be me.
Oh, I never
I was-
did. I've
okay.
only been there twice. But
What year?
they might have.
Oh, like
It would
opening?
have been 2014 to 2016. Actually, 2017, 2018.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm going to go look.
The
You should
later
look.
it gets,
I
the
seriously
less
might, yeah.
likelihood that
Could
would be
you
me.
imagine?
That would be
If
wild.
you saw him in all,
Would be
like, all of these
crazy.
different.
Some
Oh, that's
people
so
have
cool.
them. Some people have who've been
Wow.
on the Star Cruiser.
So is that like your first theme park thing? Was like,
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
But and it was
Are you from Orlando? Did you grow up here?
Yeah,
Okay, interesting.
from Orlando. Went to Dr. Phillips. And that's why it's like, you know, I'm pretty well invested into some of this work with the parks, and StarCruiser was an amazing elevation. And that's, you know, we got the chance to be really proud of what we did, because I think there was no denying that it was just high quality, really effective.
It won awards, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, but honestly, like the reward I got from being with everybody, and then the transformation that it did on me, that's the thing I care about the most, you know. It was just a fantastic opportunity, and I'm a true believer in this work of immersion. Honestly, like I think it's like nuclear energy. Like they don't even know the half of what this can do for people.
Yeah, if you just get on and find there's other podcasts and other Facebook groups. If you get on and see that, the joy it's brought to so many people's lives, like you said, it's like nuclear energy. Like
I think it can. But that's the thing. So joy, yes, but then whatever is there, it's an accelerant too.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of shy actually. So StarCruiser
fooled us.
So you know, there isn't this, but art is an inverse world. You know, and performing is maybe how I've always dealt with that. So having this moment on the StarCruiser, you know, there was good and bad in that too, because I think ultimately, as some of my peers have said, who are still there, you know, talking about the draining of that type of connection, you know. So some of that does still add up, but I still see it as a good thing. It's just nuclear energy. It needs to be handled appropriately. You need to do all the right things, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't use it unless there was something better. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
I mean, it
Join
could
us
be.
next
It
week
could
for-
be. Yeah.
We solve the energy crisis next week.
Who needs Neil deGrasse
With
Tyson?
LARPing
We don't.
and
Yes.
immersion.
So what's the story? How did you get to the night bus? Like how does like what part of your life you're like, this is what I want to do. I want to perform. I want to be. I just want to like be involved in this type of entertainment.
I feel like my story is like a really typical one for a person like that, but not to say that it's not. You know, I don't think I always honored it, but StarCruiser has done so much for everyone's personal transformation. I can accept things about myself, highs or lows, so much better.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was always in the arts from like 15 on, performing. I came from like a family that, like a really regular family. We lived in Seminole County in Altamont, where I actually live again now.
All right.
But you know, my parents, they turned around, but I was forbidden from performing because it was like a sports or. And I just kind of did whatever I wanted. So, I basically saw that as like, well, you're making me lie to you because I will be doing this.
Which is performing in
I like
itself.
this guy.
Because you're performing
You were
to them.
Yeah, you
Like,
were practicing before you even knew it.
Yeah. Well, you know, I used to be so bold. Like, I was a rock and roll little queer kid in high school. And, you know, it's...
Favorite band?
Disney made me into... Oh, well, let's flip that on its head
Okay.
in a true millennial way. Favorite band? Broadway show tunes.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
That's more
If
along.
you asked him, he would
Yeah.
say Gaia.
That's more along what I do. I don't know bands, and like, but yeah, I can say movie soundtrack or
He's
Gaia
Zeppelin.
Or, yeah.
I'm Metallica. So
Yeah.
we're all
That's
big.
funny.
I did get into 70s classic rock
Oh,
once
hell yeah.
I grew
Dude, yeah.
older. But
Austin, that's my
Yellow.
brother too.
Yeah.
That's my jam. I
Yeah.
love classic rock.
Yeah.
But
Classic rock.
who knew that the musical theater was going to be so alt and so cool?
Yeah.
But I was, long story short,
Sure.
what happened in my life? So much of it is blacked out.
But like you said,
Same.
high school trauma. High school trauma. So I mean,
I went to Dr. Phillips, so let's just do a little like Orlando praise, because
right.
I
Hell
was fed and nurtured in that way by these systems, which, you know, I spend a lot of time fighting to protect kids like myself anymore, and make sure that people have these spaces accessible to them. And the Dr. Phillips High School Performing Arts Magnet was a place where I really got to work a lot. It was basically child labor, to be honest. But you know, if you're a performer, you need to get. They train you
Sure.
to get exploited, so they're like, you better do great, and you better
Sounds
do
like the
it
college program.
well. While I'm glad that you said that.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's either going to be one of us. So
What'd you say? I missed
sounds
it.
like the college program.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And how about the staff on the Halcyon? Aren't they like the
The
best
best.
Disney
Love them.
employees?
I remember
you could
when they-
Passenger
ever-
services.
this is the
Shout out to
negative
Brooke.
side of the internet. But I remember when they announced there was gonna be a lot of CPs, people were like, "Oh, they don't deserve it. They're not gonna be good." Like, but they're amazing.
No, they
Like-
picked America's angels from across the land.
Like, yeah,
you also have to give people a chance to shine.
yeah.
Like,
After all the stories of all the characters and the performers, I have stories of Hannah and Hunter and like all these different. And you guys have LaBeth. Like, there's stories of just the passenger service members that we have. So it's like those people judged them for cast members and
Yeah.
whatever are gonna suck, but they're amazing. Like,
Our first Halcyon.
insane.
Well, it also
like,
they give. I'm sorry.
interaction.
They let you. They let you. I can tell that those cast members are empowered to do certain things.
yeah.
Where I worked for Disney in vacation planning for 3 or 4 years, and it was a hard yes and hard no job, and that sucks. And then that's really demoralizing because you want to help someone, but you can't. I can tell that's not the case there. So that's shouts out to those guys.
They're incredible. They're really amazing employees, and honestly, for like a Gen Z to be that good at manners,
100%.
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yup.
these are
Yup.
well-mannered, sweet
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
And Disney
And-
found them somehow.
Yeah, and
And-
I think they found Disney. To be honest,
Oh, that's a great
Agreed.
point.
they want to be there.
You're 1,000%
That's
right.
the
They're
key. They
honored.
want to be there.
They're
It's
honored
Disney
to
Rush.
be part of the Halcyon. So
It's going to be a documentary on Netflix.
I think the company is honored to have them.
Agreed.
They should
Yep.
be,
the
yeah.
end, because-
Absolutely.
They're the best parts of the company.
And I know you've alluded to some not so good experiences elsewhere. It's funny that you got to go to the Halcyon to get that what used to be just the culture.
Standard.
You're
When I-
1,000%
yeah,
right.
when I got off in March of last year, that's one of the first things I said. I'm like, this is what Disney was in the 90s and the 80s and 2000s. Like, this is that. It's still here. You just
Yeah.
have to go to the Halcyon to get it.
When you could go like on a random day and just no one was there and you just rode Thunder Mountain like
Yeah.
like 6
Oh my God.
million
Miss those days,
times.
man.
Yeah.
Well, that's why everybody feels depressed when they leave the Halcyon.
Yeah, one of the many reasons. One of the many reasons. But you talked
Do you
about
go
it a
into the
little
parks
bit.
often now?
I'm taking a break.
Okay.
I'm taking
Same.
a breather.
I think that's totally fair.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
I haven't even been to Batu in 2 weeks. Like, and that's a lot for me. Ask them.
Taylor's
have, you got
okay?
have you got any wellness checks done on you? Because I'm sure
I
there's some
need to.
Doc Ondars people who are like, where the hell is Evan?
Yeah, it's been hard.
Oh, wow.
I haven't been south of the 408 since March, with the exception of today.
Wow.
So-
Oh, wow. Really?
yeah.
Wow, for Jedi Talk. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm like, I think it's fitting. When I got the news, I remembered that we were maybe going to discuss some things, and I decided not to, out of just sort of caution and a
We
little
totally
bit of
respect the
wisdom.
hell out of
Yeah.
that.
That's
I
smart,
thought it
yeah.
was a good time to test the waters and maybe speak about it in the right way.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
there is a right way to talk about this, because I think overall it was a good thing. I would never ask for it not to happen. Just to end my little blurb about
Please.
me real quick, because I
Yes.
don't want to leave you hanging or be
No.
bad at
Don't
my
end
homework.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went from Dr. Phillips High School to Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh, where I got a great acting training. And that's sort of the backbone of this character. It's like a sort of Shakespearean, sort of, I tried to bring a lot of drama and regality and
Yep.
that whole thing to it. And, if he could make something fancy or, what's the word I'm looking
Like
for?
proper.
Yeah,
Regal, elegant.
for Stephen a little bit,
Yeah.
a little, so I had a lot of fun bringing all of that to the character. But then it was, I moved to LA for a little bit after college, kind of got in touch with what the industry was like, really beat me down, and I did not have the fortitude or the money, and came back home, and as many do, and that was sort of, if I remember correctly, there was literally a flyer in the mail that was like, looking for actors with British accents.
Oh.
Diagon Alley. And I was like, I'll do this for a second before I move to New York. And then,
This will get me there.
yeah, so I did that. Was going to be seasonal, but ended up being full-time and did it for a couple years. And
Wonderful.
Man.
yeah, and then it's just been actor life, some theater in town, Orlando Shakes, Mad Cow when it existed. And then once I started working at Galaxy's Edge in 2019, I became like kind of full-on Disney boy, because
Yeah.
I had been doing a lot of live theater in Florida and Orlando especially, which doesn't pay well. So I landed that consistent job, and I really enjoyed Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
That's awesome to
And,
hear.
yeah, because it had that perfect mix of, at this point, I think that you would view theme park work as super repetitive. So it was a little repetitive, but not so much. And then it had that free form in the middle, the interactivity. And that's what everybody likes. That's where everything thrives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
you talk
beautiful.
about that. That's the first time any of us saw you was in Galaxy's Edge, and we were there opening day, and like we saw you.
Dude,
so
I'm such
much
a dork.
there.
I flew out to L.A. to do their opening day at Galaxy's Edge.
Even though he
it was
lives
coming
4
here, I live
miles
here.
Mars, yeah.
I flew out for Galaxy's
You
Edge.
love
to
what
Disneyland.
you love.
I love
Exactly.
Star Wars.
That's right.
Yeah, but like that's where we first saw you. So Taylor and I, when we got on the Star Cruiser, and the door opened and you walked out, we both screamed because it's like the lieutenant that we've known for 2 years. Like it's him.
It's on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah.
You guys are so
Like
sweet.
none of they're all great, so it wasn't like, oh, he's our favorite, but it's like he's the one we saw
hang
the
on,
most of.
hang on.
Like,
Is your favorite?
I mean, you said it,
He's your favorite. Hey,
but I'm shaking my head.
hey,
Yes.
you're stupid, right?
Yeah.
It's all about the love, people.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and
Yes.
I think you could struggle with
It's like
that
picking
with
my
this type
favorite
of
kid.
character.
You know, if I had kids, but I don't. But
And I think that's why we connected when y'all were there, right? Like
Yeah.
I must have sensed that y'all had affection and love, that there was going to be more to work with there, and you know, and then we just
Yeah.
elaborated on that. Look
And
at us
that's
now.
and that's why you asked Brad if he was part or full Wookiee.
Yeah, I remember. That was
Which I
good.
never say to anybody else
Ever.
of your
It was
style of
just-
look.
See,
it was just
that-
No, we
Yeah.
figured that out.
that brings me to another question. I've worked with and seen a lot of other current lieutenants on Batuu, and they're really good at improv, and they do have their own like script and then non-script sections, but they seem to have some go-tos every now and then. Where it's like, oh, you're using that same joke, but like it's still funny. Did you ever have any like go-tos like that, or did you always just kind of wing it?
I'm going to frame this in a pro-Halcyon way. That was the beauty of this show.
Mhm.
You could just get to that place where your brain had made a catalog, and then something would happen that just not only threw it out the window, you'd be like, look at this brand new catalog that just came
Yeah.
up because this random thing just happened. So all of the repetitiveness, the non-nuance, StarCruiser is amazing, right? Like,
Yeah.
as an actor, I felt so gifted and so electrified. But that was a little bit of the double-edged sword, right? Because, like, for 2 years, you know, including the workshop, you know, I get home at about 11, and I've got 300 people racing through me, and drank a lot of coffee that night because I was, you know, trying to stay quick, and you know, so I think that's cool. That's theater. That's life. That's art. It's just, you know, some of this is it's not supposed to be forever, you know. And I think
true.
sometimes, dare I say it, in the theme park system, the things do really repeat and repeat and repeat, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So have some catalog stuff.
Right.
Love when I get to break it.
Right, and that's the thing, especially in the Halcyon too. But like theme park working, you're like, oh, I've seen it all. Like I've seen and heard everything, and then every day something new. It's like, oh, didn't see that. Like didn't see that coming. So it's like the same thing on the StarCruiser, probably in a better light. But it's like, oh, I didn't expect that response from that guest. So now I have, like you said, that new catalog of responses that you can like spawn off of. So
It's
that's
a blessing.
brilliant.
I mean, if we not that any guest has ever been disparaged or talked bad about backstage.
Never,
But if
not
we
once.
ever had someone that was super special or something, you know, I always had to just really see that as a blessing. I was like, especially if it was a kid, right? You know, I think the line was when they would maybe start ruining the show for other adults or other people there. So I would try to balance that, but.
That to me seems like that'd be the hardest, is like trying to balance people who are all in and people who are not. Like that seems like that would be like
I'm
the
so
toughest
sorry
thing.
to our last Croy. I know he was talking about me.
I don't know.
Sorry.
I don't think so.
I think so.
He was.
You think so?
He was.
Well,
I
we
was-
talked about Gary earlier.
We did
He
talk
named
about
one of the
Gary.
stormtroopers Gary. So
I followed him around. I was.
One
I
of
was
the
very.
stormtroopers is named Gary. You're dead on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, I heard it right from the authority here. For the order.
it's true. He would know.
Space Gary.
Space Gary.
Scary. That's our new episode. That's the episode next week. That's the
Yeah,
title.
Space
Space
that-
Scary.
that-
We're interviewing
Stormtrooper.
Space Gary next. That's our next.
That stormtrooper banter, and especially seeing you interact with them, is just pristine on the Halcyon. I love how it's taken up like several notches from what you see on Batuu.
Yeah, it's good playtesting on Batuu, and
It's
they bring it
spectacular.
up to the
Yeah.
StarCruiser.
And let's just talk about the performers who play the stormtroopers
Please, yes.
being just the lifeblood of that company, both on Edge and at StarCruiser. Amazingly talented artists, especially physically because the restrictions on their parts. But
Yeah.
I enjoyed playing with the stormtroopers more than I enjoyed playing with anyone, and I always fully embraced that was going to be my number one partner, and you had to be super connected to them and uplift them. Because to me, you know, sometimes they get a lot of hate, and they are most likely
Yes,
to.
they do. I'm looking at Tom.
Who could do that?
Why would you hate Gary?
I told you I was going full libertarian on this cruise, so I was going against
It was
authority.
brilliant.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Because
He was great.
we don't get enough of that in real life, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't do that enough. Yeah.
But they're amazing. And I would always try to, you know, it was this weird balance because you're playing the bad guy, But not only do I think it's the role of the actor to find the heart, the love, the reason, and therefore maybe the respect of this person, but you're also like literally with people and trying to win them over, and you're the bad guy. So anytime I could tell I had like a little bit of a regular negative energy with me, that got perceived, even if it was an unconscious level. So my goal was always tons of love. Like, this guy is in the wrong organization. He's just been indoctrinated his whole life, and he's a good boy. So it never really.
He's the best boy. Best boy. Okay?
He's the best boy.
Yes. Yes.
And
Captain Keevan believes him.
oh yeah, you know, but that's just a good example of like, where's the love? You know, that's a Michael Shurtleff book about acting. It's called Audition, and it's got these different points. I think there's 8. Don't quote me on that. Sorry, thespians. And
actually, it's 7. We're gonna go through the first.
Calm down at Jedi Talk Podcast on
they
Instagram.
find the humor. But you know, one of the things you got to look for is, where's the love? Why are these people staying? You know, and talk about. I think that immersion follows all the regular acting rules, but it's nuclear. It's like an accelerant, so you have to consider them more. You can't. So there was more need to find love, more need to connect with the troopers, so that way other people could connect with the troopers. If I treated them with respect instead of talking down to them, other people probably more likely would. If I treated others with respect, they would treat me with respect. They would want to be on the side, and we would have fun. And I want to play the fiction. I tried to ride the line. I tried to find a good reason why this could be the way it is. But ultimately, I wasn't there to be nasty or to make anybody's time not fun.
Yeah. That's one is like missing on Batuu. They get the troopers get attacked a lot on the daily on Batuu, and it's because there's not like
I didn't physically harm any of them on the house.
Not by count. Elias
it was
did not
all
physically
mental.
harm anyone.
Elias Orion was
but
from Takodana.
In Galaxy's Edge, they're always getting hit with lightsabers, or actually,
oh my God,
and that's
like,
insane.
Hit by hand. So like,
Jesus.
Are these guys tossed?
They should be.
I'll reference an Orlando Sentinel article on it in 2019.
Yeah.
If you want to know how that situation would normally go, there's plenty of information out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, like I haven't witnessed it on the Halcyon myself. I'm sure it has happened, but like it's probably happened less because, like you said, there's that lieutenant in the middle who's humanizing himself and the troopers and the guests. Like they're all kind of connecting and humanizing a little bit, so it should deter that a little bit. I don't know if it does, but I haven't witnessed it myself.
It's the power of humanizing somebody. It might not work on everybody, but
No.
it's going to do something, and that's what this work is all about. You get to see the people you are performing for who they are, and that runs the whole spectrum. And you have to accept whatever it is, and
Did you have any guests that like were adversarial? I guess that's not the word I'm trying to say, but like somebody who wasn't on the First Order side that like you eventually got like won them over. Where they're like, boo, and then by the end of it, they're like, yeah.
If it happened pretty soon.
Okay.
So they would just it would happen sort of maybe in the first day.
Because he's so damn likable. Like,
I know.
Yeah, they'd be like, I
look
didn't
at that
expect to
face.
do
Come
this,
on.
but you seem like a fun
dude,
guy.
that was us. Like, 'cause
that's exactly it.
that was exactly us. Because like, well, the first time we went, I collect magic bands. And I have like 300 magic bands or
Something like that. Yeah.
Brad,
something
you're being
ridiculous.
conservative. Like you have like 600.
That's just in one room in your house.
In one room, yeah.
The other room has 200.
And so it broke my My Disney Experience account. So I wasn't able to use the datapad stuff on the first time. So on this time, I had to make a new account and blah, 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 blah. So I followed him. We kind of like put both, because I was like, I'm full resistance. And then we ran into you, and we were like, this guy's so much fun. I kind of want to do this. But it was like, I think we ended up like, what? Did we double-crossed him? Is that what we did?
No. We actually ended up in the final bridge training. Or not the bridge training, but the bridge mission with you. Like
With Colonel Talos. When he shows
Colonel
up.
Talos, and like literally right before the finale when Kylo just shows up, he's like, I'm coming on the ship. And then boom.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot
That's
about
one of our biggest memories with you was that bridge.
I remember
finale.
y'all being there.
That's insane. And like it was just how you just carried yourself around the bridge. You were like at one point running laps around the bridge, like actually running. And this ties into like what you talked about how you reacted with the troopers. A trooper like slipped coming in one of the doors, and he was like, "Oh, are you okay? Are you okay, trooper? That was an interesting wall." And then he was like, "Affirmative." And I'm like, then you were like, "Okay, good," or something like. So you were like, you cared about him in that moment.
I hope that trooper was okay.
Gary was fine.
Gary's all right? Yeah, clearly.
Gary,
Yeah.
My favorite moment of the first voyage, Let's say it at the same time.
All right.
3, 2, 1. My boys! Was that a regular thing?
It lived on. It didn't
Okay.
ever go away too
Oh my
much.
God.
You know, if you feel that impetus, you've got to go. And again, I like to make people happy. I really want
dude.
people to be
You do
having
great
fun.
at it,
And
yeah.
That's why you're so funny. Like I'm genuinely shocked you have some sort of computer training.
I was given you were trying to hear the code, and I was like doing the typical 62, 47, and you turned to me. I will shoot you. Like really.
hopefully I didn't say literally that.
No,
did
no,
I?
no.
Okay.
No, but it was just like I will. Like you just got my face. What I heard was that, or at least that's what I wanted to hear, because I thought it was beautiful.
Well, it's in the past. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's in the blast. I mean, past.
Yes.
No one was shot.
No one was shot.
Yeah, it's a.
What was the not only are you
Oh, hold on.
I mean, he's got that on the soundboard somewhere.
Do you know that you're
Yeah.
on our soundboard? Adam?
I heard it a couple times
Yeah.
today. I'd be lying if I said otherwise.
Okay, so obviously not only are you in support of these troopers being in the brig, you're tearing this poor family apart.
you cut it off right before my
Like he's dying, I'm dying. It's a hardest
My
I laughed
emphysema
on
laugh.
the whole voyage.
People
Yeah.
at Disney do love for you to kind of be mean to them and to
Yes.
kind of say the thing you shouldn't say,
You
as
can be
long as it's not
sarcastic.
profane or scatological.
because it's the exact opposite of what you think you're going to get, and
Yeah.
so like that's what's beautiful about it, because you're
Yeah.
like, I did not see that as an option.
It's a lot of fun. So as long as I feel like they could sense the fun and the love, you could have a lot of fun roasting. Sometimes I would lighten up on the roast if I felt that we could get edgy real quick. Mainly, and it's not. I don't mind people being edgy. That's like LARPing. That's real. I just know we kind of got a show to do, and that's the actor in me kind of trying to make sure we're keeping up good show, and I don't want the negative energy to like really, sidetrack, and people be like, "Wow, okay, now they're really fighting."
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah,
like in Disney in general, but like also on the house scene especially, you're on someone's phone at all times. You're constantly being recorded. So like,
Oh my
if you
God,
say or do
yeah.
one little thing, it's going to be on YouTube in 10 seconds.
Viral, bro.
It's one
Yeah.
of those things that I think helped keep it always heightened.
Yeah.
And it's my friend Brooks said it the best, where like every corner is a stage. The whole thing is a stage, and you get to be an actor too. But knowing that could happen doesn't bother me. It's a good reminder, like, okay, we've started. You're in that world.
Yeah.
And it's a different world. So my brain takes all of that as a reminder. And the director of the piece, who I hope I don't get in trouble for crediting, because she deserves all of the credit,
Yeah.
Michael Tara Garver, just a brilliant creative and a person who really strong-armed this thing into what it is. She was really good among some of our first cruises about giving us some great direction about how to deal with phones and faces and stuff. And
Interesting.
it's just so much easier than you think it is, because it's like you already know what you're supposed to be
Right.
doing then, right? So do it harder to whoever is behind the camera, and just accept that it's there. And then all of a sudden I was like, I think I'm ready to be on TV. So
Oh my God! Is that your Batman voice? Because I like that. Yeah.
I'm Batman.
Oh my!
Hey,
all right,
there
there we
you
go.
go.
Jesus Christ!
He's
There we
a
go.
huge DC
Move-
fan over there.
Move
so.
over, Robert Pattinson. I
Yeah,
mean,
like-
James Gunn needs a Batman. We have Adam
Right?
Reilly over here.
We have
Yeah.
Adam Reilly.
I'm Batman. Did you have like a favorite character to interact with?
Wani.
Wani.
Well,
Huh,
I did
okay.
not think you would say
None of us
Wani.
would have picked that.
Wow.
I don't know.
Well,
I was thinking
okay.
Kevin or
Yeah, well, okay, it's like
Let
I
the man
always had
answer.
this theory. We're talking. We're talking.
We're here on Coffee Talk.
Or whatever this orange drink is.
That would be a fuzzy
That would be a
tauntaun.
fuzzy tauntaun.
Oh, hey.
Yes.
A bootleg fuzzy tauntaun.
No, you're the mixologist yourself.
Yes, of course.
Good for you, Lebeth. I mean,
Hey, there you go.
shout out to
We
Lebeth.
love Lebeth. We love her.
Evan.
I need her to be on my next voyage because I never had her.
That's
as
not
my
gonna
chemist.
happen.
I know. Oh, well.
But shout out.
Shout out to the Beth. We know you're listening.
I always saw Croy. You're the instigator, so it was fun to never really like have to be like, oh, I have to be quiet for my partners or blah blah blah.
Right.
blah. Like it's okay if he's pushing things along or being loud or whatever.
Yeah.
But I tried to be porous, receptive, so the story could keep going. But okay, what were we talking about?
Your favorite
Your
character
favorite
to talk
character.
to.
You said
I
Wani.
think even though he's like obsessed with Gaia in my mind,
Yes.
that he falls in love with everyone, the guests included, because he's meant to be a good guy. He's meant to be with the Resistance. He would be one of their best assets and proactive members, I think. But he just life path, privilege, whatever issued him along this path.
He's from Kawat, so that doesn't really. It does help him along that First Order path. That's where
Exactly.
they're building
I don't
ships,
think he's
so
had another path.
Yeah.
I think he's been right whatever that path would lead to.
Yeah.
So to be there where this ship is like gorgeous and fun, and you actually do kind of like it, and Wani's not so bad. She's actually really nice, and honestly, like you really think that she's talented as well. And Captain Keevan treats you with respect. You're not used to that.
Yeah.
And so
the enemy treating you with respect. Like,
Yeah.
I could always sense that like that was when you portrayed him. That was like his like thing where he's like, this is great.
bougie up here.
Well,
You know?
What am I doing this for? Getting choked out by Kylo Ren.
playing the reality anyway. That's how we're all feeling, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
whatever could put him. And eventually, I would get to this point where I would tell all the kids on the second day. I'd be like, "Do you have plans for tomorrow?" And they'd be like, "We're going home." And I'd be like, "None of us are going home. We're staying here
If
for
only.
forever."
That is spectacular. I love it.
I wish I could have seen that, but that kind of leads me to another question I've always thought. Like, it seems like Kuroi seems to attract a lot of kid fandom. Like, the kids always kind of like flock to him. Do you know if there's like a reason behind that? Possibly.
I think I felt this way about Star Wars when I was younger. I think children, especially boys, respond to the like clearness of the Order.
Yeah.
Even just aesthetically. But I think Sammy and who else gets a lot of kids?
Chewie does, but he's brief.
Yeah.
So like you can't really say Chewie.
Yeah.
But
I think because Sammy seems safe and sweet and stuff. But I don't know. I love being with kids. We develop a great intellectual rapport. So this job was one of the best jobs for that because I just got to laugh and banter with amazing minds of children.
That's awesome.
So
that's a Yoda quote for crying out loud.
Yeah.
You know, about something about beautiful the mind of a child is, or something like that.
Great quote.
Yeah.
Well, and
I nailed it.
Is that
I nailed
the
it.
exact quote?
Or something
He's
like
like
that.
something about the mind of a
Yeah,
child.
something. Yeah.
I'm sad on Dagobah. That was
Yeah.
the whole quote.
No, that was a
Nailed
prequel. That was a prequel quote, actually. If we go back to
Actually, it was in Attack of the
episode
Clones.
2.
Go on.
Please.
It was in. It starts at frame 2000.
Look what I started.
let's not pretend that we aren't. That
I was about to
right
say
now.
I've been that guy many times.
Yes, we are.
I do it to my wife all the time. It's like, well, actually, Jabba the Hutt. You know, it's just.
And I stand by every film. By the way, I know we touched on that a little bit earlier.
So do we.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's,
do you
what's
have
your
a favorite,
all-time
though?
favorite?
Like-
What's your all-time favorite?
I know this is. It's just because I'm a millennial, but the Phantom Menace, like,
Beautiful.
is
We
a
love-
thing
yeah,
for me.
we love the
Darth
Phantom
Maul
Menace.
is a thing for me.
Yeah.
When I saw that Jar
you.
Jar Binks toy on I had that.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
And and that's where my love of this lore is based in.
Yeah,
you
I was
know?
10 when the Phantom Menace came out. And I
It's
love
the perfect age.
Same
I
age,
still to this
yeah.
day, pod racing is like my jam.
Yeah,
I love
we all
pod
had that
racing.
N64
Yeah, dude.
game, and I was doing this.
Did you play the remaster that came out a few years ago?
No,
Oh my
I
God,
only
that's
play
incredible.
Zelda now.
Yes, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
I haven't got it yet. Is it good?
It's been filling in my unemployment. That's for sure. That's for sure.
I need to
But
get
you know, if you're unemployed, you're not feeling good about yourself, and you can't quite figure out how to build a wagon. You know, that's not a great way to build self-esteem. But you know what a great thing to do? Jump from a high height
There you go.
with no consequences.
There you
So, sorry.
In the game, of course. Yes.
In the game.
I love that.
Anybody who's played will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you are struggling, you should accept help and tell your friends and take care of yourself, your beloved. And play some Zelda.
Play some
Yes.
Zelda and
Jump off a high place.
Jump off a floating
You
island.
could do
In
it
a
in
fake
Survivor
world.
too. Cal drops his lightsaber when you do it. Remember when you fall from
Yeah.
like the top of a building, he
Yeah.
just limps and then drops
his body just like falls apart.
I love the Phantom Menace. Qui-Gon's my favorite
Yeah.
Jedi.
Yes.
Love
Me
it.
too.
Yeah,
Me
he's
too.
the best. You look like him.
Dang.
You're kidding.
Oh,
With the hair.
1000%.
The hair pulled up like that.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
definitely going into my Jedi look because I've been such
Bro.
a Nazi youth for 2 years. So,
For the order.
yeah, frothy horror.
Not that order.
No, not that order, no.
I like, that's what's kind of like fun about acting. I enjoyed.
You could totally play young Qui-Gon.
Well,
Yeah.
Should I go get the lightsaber?
I think you should, and I think we need to get Lucasfilm on the phone.
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
I can be Qui-Gon if I'm too busy being Batman. You know?
Oh, that's true.
There we go. I want him as Batman.
You got to pick one. You got to pick
Actually,
one.
does that also
yeah.
sound a little like Liam Neeson?
Kind of does. Do you have a very unique
Say
set
you
of
have a
skills?
unique set of skills as
Yeah.
Batman. And go.
They're LARPing my skills.
Just Batman looking down on the atrium.
If you do Batman, I'll get into DC. I need a new fandom.
Oh, for the love of God! I've been telling you to watch the Joker. I've been telling you to watch Batman.
If that's happening, let's be real. It's probably going to be at some sort of hotel that we can all be at together.
I will be there. Day one, opening day.
They make a Arkham Asylum, but you stay in the.
You're the crazy inmate.
God.
There you go.
Can I say something tying back into what we were talking about with
Of
the
course,
kids,
of course.
and because we went Yoda, then we went like
Welcome to
This
the
is what
show.
happened.
originals.
This is what we do.
I'm glad. I love it. I love it. Glad to be part of the group talking. I think if I could like take a sappy, deep takeaway from what it was for me, and being a queer person in today's day and age, and after COVID, you know, everybody wants to make generalizations about everyone, right? This space of Starcruiser, it's literally a safe place for all, and I mean all, because I was being a fascist with people sometimes who I don't know if they understood the levels of what I was trying to do, but regardless, that wasn't I had to accept that, right? So but there's a safe place for all, and what I loved, because this goes into kids being attracted or like drawn to the character, there would be very, I hate that I have to say this, but appropriate and completely normal connections. They weren't normal, they were exceptional actually, but there would be boys, they would be 9 to 12, they would be so drawn to this character, and so I would start to think about the aesthetic or why they're. And I liked the Troopers when I was younger. I liked Darth Maul when I was younger.
Right.
I was trying to think about what's in the people that draws them to it, and the loyalty. I think that's one of the biggest themes in the Order, and true loyalty, and that's what I really became moved by, because I was like, people want to say shit about men. Men can't be the problem. Not any one group could be the problem. And I was looking into these amazing people with amazing qualities of earnesty, authenticity, vulnerability, loyalty. And I would hear younger kids say things to me like, "You're cool," or like express positivity that I just don't really hear from people, especially people who are male, because we're not told that that's okay. You're not allowed to sort of express that part of yourself. So there came a time, like I'd say 3/4 of the way through, where that became a consistent pattern. And I'd be like, these kids are really moving me. And sometimes in those shout-outs at the end, rather than try to make one funny, I would just be like, you know, Calvin, I'm just fucking impressed by you. You know, you're just cool.
Yeah.
You inspired me with your loyalty, with your intelligence, with how much you cared. You know, and so I was like, we're doing something to people that makes them dispassionate, makes them not care. I think in this work, it draws out the best in people, and that was my favorite thing about connecting with younger people.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's spectacular.
Yeah, that nailed it on the head.
It's so incredible
100%.
to hear. Yeah, and just what with young people, and then like 37-year-olds like myself. Like I was telling these two guys, you know, the whole time we're up there, didn't have a problem upstairs with anything. I wasn't anxious about anything,
Right.
not depressed. And
Right.
that's because of the people.
Right.
Because, and it's like it's incredible to see how hard the performers are working day in and day out. Because I remember Brad and I would talk about it on our second voyage a little bit, watching Captain Keevan, and even on our first voyage, watching you with literally anybody else. It's like, they've done this how many times? And it's like, it feels so authentic to us that it makes me feel special. There's a special feeling to it.
Yeah.
It's like holding that space, right? And I think we can do that in regular life as well. Hold more space for people, invite more space for people to be whatever it is that they are at that moment. And you know, you said we were working hard. We were, but I think some of this is about letting something happen, which is sometimes a little trickier, right?
Sure.
Especially the older we get. Like, we talk about the kids and stuff, but like, you're seeing 30, 60-year-old, whatever, all the age ranges, like
Star Wars
playing,
fans from
just
everywhere.
coming out and playing, acting like we're 12.
So much fun.
You know, then we come back out here and like, we can do it here because like the Bat Cave and that kind of stuff, all Tom's figures are, but like, most people, they go to their job down and they go back home and like they don't get to play.
Right.
They don't get to have that welcomed environment.
Well,
They
I
just
work
get to
from
be
home,
them.
and I literally do work in that room.
You
so.
do get to play.
I'm kidding,
Most
I'm not-
people aren't
I
cool.
1,000% understand what you mean.
Yeah, my home office doesn't have any cool action figures because it's in my kid's closet.
I don't know, Amidala. What did you think of that report? Yeah, it's with the closing, I think it's important to say some of this. Now, will it be Starcruiser? Will you have all this amazing stuff to support your imagination and your weekend and all of that? No, but some of this can be done at home with your family if you just want to cross that bridge. And I'm not going to say that that's easy. That's why people came. That's why this experience engaged them. That's why many people needed that experience to work through something, or might need this LARPing or immersion or connection work to work through something in their life. So
it's funny you say that because a friend of mine, Lynn Testa, he talked about this on the last episode that he did of the Disney Dish podcast. And he was saying that he had a conversation with Ray that was more beneficial to him
Than therapy.
has been for him.
Mhm.
And I know to people who maybe have not experienced this, they're like, that's insane to say.
yeah,
But it's not. I mean,
It's
you
not.
had a similar kind of thing in a different way
with both Kevin and
yeah.
Saja Fenn. Both of them had. It was so euphoric in a sense. Actually, Captain Kevin made me change the course of my story. The plan I had going in there, she turned me around to the Resistance. It's like, damn.
that's how it's supposed to go.
That's
you know?
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wish I could praise that particular person on here, but I don't want to say that.
Not
But
until after
Yeah.
it closes.
I know. Yeah.
They know. We know.
I know.
Yeah, they
Exactly.
know. They
I
know.
know.
That's
We all
Let
follow
it be
each other.
known.
We
Yeah,
all know who we are.
We all know
Yeah.
who everyone is.
I like the pronoun game that we have to play.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I think this is great, and that is what this is about. That is what is supposed to be done there. Something as this craft unfolds and as these experiences continue to happen, the children that we're referring to earlier, Ray doesn't have a licensed mental health counseling.
Yes, true.
degree.
Yeah, you do
True.
have to specify.
Those
and,
Jedi mind
and not
tricks,
to
though.
say that moment isn't authentic or even inappropriate.
Yeah.
It's nice. That's what should be happening. There should be more knowledge and just intention to know that that's what's going
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
This might be a Qui-Gon Jinn moment. He wasn't a good safe word because he came up.
That's true.
So
Like, erase it. It's like, no, keep it in.
I had to cater to a couple guests sometimes who were in a moment that I was like, I'm not qualified to deal with this, but I do
Okay.
feel responsible for where you're at, and that's where this nuclear energy comes into play. You know, I think in this work, in these things, talk about sustainability, people need to be taken care of. This is who this is about. Yes, there's a fancy bridge. Yes, the terrazzo is shiny. Yes, there's so many rooms to go to. Yes, you guys can take 30 showers in your day, like you mentioned.
That was just me.
That was Brad. I
What a
took
callback.
one.
What a callback.
Good time.
Great. What a great
guy.
callback. That's a deep cut.
Yeah, it's a deep
I
cut.
thought it was so funny.
You're a better listener
I'm a
than
weirdo,
Kyle.
dude. Like, I hate being gross. Like, I hate feeling nasty. Like, I showered before I came here, and I'm driving to Venice, Florida tonight to go visit family after this, and I'm gonna shower before I get in the car and sit down. Like, I
That
hate
was
feeling-
your shower. Those were
Those
your
are my
3 days.
I-
You do what you want.
Exactly.
I literally
You paid for
used
that shower.
I used a third of the body wash.
Well, you
Hey,
can't take it home with you. So
He's only one of how many people that say they showered in hyperspace. So
Yeah, there you
it's
go.
true,
There you
and
go.
it actually happened in hyperspace.
Did
I
you
got out
fall
of the shower.
upside down?
No, I was
I'm
fine.
upside
I
down
was
now.
fine.
they have handles installed. I think you can hang on. Right?
It's not what the handles are used for.
Okay, hit a button. Hit a button.
Hit the button.
Which button? I don't know. I've
You're
been
the one
staying
running-
away.
I know.
I'm fucking someone.
Massage the alarm.
I don't know. Hit it.
Clear ship.
Clear the ship.
Hit the alarm from the halcyon.
Yeah.
Do that
I
one.
don't have that
I
one.
wish
thought
we
you
had that
did.
one. Not
No.
yet. We're trying to clip it. We're trying to clip it.
How?
Yeah, there you go.
Please report to the. Oh,
Your
I probably
mustache
shouldn't do that.
stations.
You can do it.
It was people. It's about people. People should be taken care of. You
Yes.
know, and because I think that's ultimately what's going on. You know,
Have you had if you could pick one moment like that moved you as a human that Croy almost broke or Adam almost broke? Like, is it something that you can recall?
I want the big answer is there are so many. I did what I could to jot some down. I wasn't always consistent. It is hard to pick one. Do you mind if I just take a second to really
please.
think about it, so that way I can?
And
give
we're
you
all
a
going to
good
stare at
previous
you and
one.
make you real uncomfortable.
No, I was going to look to Brad and say, if we could pan through the listener questions real quick.
Well,
sure.
I'll give you like a light answer and a deep answer. How's
Okay.
that?
Yes, please.
Let's
When
do it.
I was doing my last finale and didn't know whether it was going to be my last one or not,
Yeah.
I wept, wet face, wet collar, tears down my face of every emotion you can have. And that's the power of the Starcruiser, right?
Wow.
My 2 years had sort of culminated into this moment, and I had this revelation. It was like, I guess it doesn't matter if this is my last one or not. This was. And I feel like that's good advice to everybody on day 3, It was.
Yeah.
It happened. Art, and especially performance art, has this beauty of only existing once, but then existing forever somehow.
It's fleeting.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, maybe the closing almost makes it like shine brighter, like a little bit more gilded. You know what I mean?
That is true. And I mean, all that stuff is going to be
Anything to keep
multiplied.
him from crying himself to sleep every night. Say something else.
It's going to happen. All that's going to be multiplied on September 30th. I wish we could have been a part of that
I
last
know,
voyage.
man. I'm really bummed.
Just to experience all that raw
But
human emotion.
We will
But
find out. I think, like I told you, I think it might be a good thing for us to go back on it before, they run out of coasters and the
that's
merch is
all
gone.
the merch is gone. Yeah.
So that's
You mean,
something
like,
to look
from
forward
people
to.
taking it out?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah,
we've
you know
we've
that's
got a
going
stack of
down.
them. Yeah.
the
The
coasters
you know,
are
it's going
you can take those.
Yeah, the little paper
The
ones.
things you
Little
can't
paper
take,
ones.
don't take. But coasters you can take.
Well,
Like,
We'll see.
They didn't
Anyhow.
charge you for the thing I took off the water bottle, did they?
no, that stupid little chain.
Yeah,
no, I saw
alright.
that. That was funny. That was funny.
You realize you actually took that?
Yeah, it's hanging up in his office.
It's hanging up in my office.
Yeah. It's got the chain that's like, this water is free for you to drink. Please
Yeah.
refill it.
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nope, I know
well,
what I'm taking.
that water machine in the corner. I
love that
secretly, like one of my favorite
Oh my God,
things
me
about
too.
the Halcyon. I'm like, it's sparkling.
I called my fiance. I was like, she's
It was-
obsessed with club soda. I was like, they have it on draft.
It was 5:30
She's
in
gonna
the
get to
morning on day
experience it.
3. I was cottonmouth to hell because I drank more. We closed down the Sublight Lounge the night before. I just grabbed that big thing and I sat right in front of that thing for like 2 hours, just like drinking
Fill,
it.
chug,
Brad
fill.
found me and I'm like, yeah, I've just been here for like since 5:30.
All right, so here's the thing. We got some listener questions, and anything you don't want to answer or can't answer, just say pass.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
No pressure.
Yeah,
just
say
Qui-Gon
Qui-Gon.
Jinn.
He's
Is there
the
a-
answer.
Do you have a Qui-Gon Jinn button?
He is always the answer. When in
No,
doubt,
I
Qui-Gon
just have the
Jinn.
one from Survivor of Cal mentioning.
Is it just the word Qui-Gon Jinn?
Said by Cal.
So many questions.
Oh, no, it's too long.
Yeah,
Already
it's too long. Yeah,
Dang.
Why don't you just do that?
But it was fitting. He did have so many questions.
I could do that.
There you go. That'll be the pass sound. All right, so this one, we have quite a few. I might not get to all of them because some of them are kind of the same question.
Yeah, we may have addressed some of them too. So
And if I get to that point, we can just skip it or whatever. So this comes from Matthew Harmon, and he said, "How do you learn everyone's name?" Kind of touched on it before. It's just like I think it's just kind of an innate thing you guys have.
There's no policy. There's no
Interesting.
registered technique.
Dang.
This is a brain game that you play with yourself
Wow.
to people's differing levels of ability, which I could tell you, depending on how many cruises you did in a row, your ability to remember names drastically decreased.
Oh,
by
I'm sure.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
I've done shows just like on a small scale. When I was doing stand up, and you do 2 or 3 shows in a night. And like, did I tell this joke already, or was that the earlier show? You
Was
don't
that
remember?
yesterday? Was
yeah,
that
like you
today?
don't remember. So I couldn't imagine. I'm blown away by y'all.
And it's even weirder on the Starcruiser because they're not all just Bob, Jim.
Yeah.
Some of them are crazy, like Avant. You know,
Right.
like
You know,
insane.
but there was something about that one that was easy to remember for me because it's close to
That's
an
why I tried
actual
to do
name.
It. It's my name, just
Yeah.
with T on the end. So
Right.
that's why I picked it. I'm like, it's easy. Ish.
I will say there is a special kind of joy to say taking a small break. And then you would go back in, and you could be like, Sherry, Tom, John. Like, and you, it was
cheers.
Like,
It's
your
cheers
brain
all
just
over
had
again.
that space
That's
to
awesome.
do it.
That's
you know?
beautiful.
And even I cannot, but if I could step back in tomorrow, and I know I could just go through the whole thing. And honestly, it'd be an
Crazy.
immense joy because I
Oh, yeah.
haven't done it in forever.
That's incredible.
Next question comes from super fan of the show and former guest Matt. Is it Navarez?
Matt Navarez, yeah.
Former
Navarez.
guest. He's
Former
never coming
guest.
back?
He's
Dang.
never coming back. You're not allowed on the show, Matt.
Matt's coming back. He's
Uh,
the one
okay.
that'll agree with me about Andor.
That's true. Until season 2.
He
Yeah, right.
asked Evan, how many other guests other than Evan learned Huttese? This guy had flashcards.
That's true. That's true.
We were standing
and
in line
I can
to
read
board.
Arabic, and I was starting to learn Huttese.
To my knowledge, you are the only one.
Oh,
That's good.
There
that's
you go.
awesome.
That makes me actually
There you
feel
Which good thing
especially
you
nerdy.
didn't say it on the ship because there's a whole censored language thing.
Yeah, I said a few things to Wani, like just one-on-one, and I was like, I'm not going to let this get out.
Did she? Oh, that's cool. Did
yeah.
you guys have a nice little Huttese talk?
Kind of. I can't understand it as well as I can say it. So I was like, but this third and final voyage, it's going to happen where I'm going to have like a full-on conversation. It has to happen because it's the last time I'll ever get to speak Huttese to a Rhodian. Like, come on.
This episode brought to you by Duolingo.
Yeah, right.
Huttese version
Before I
of Duolingo.
forget, I want to ask another question that's tangentially connected. Is there a scripted reason why the First Order doesn't like Gaia's song Ula Shuka?
Yeah, it's a language like censorship.
Okay, because I had no idea why. I just knew they didn't like
Oh.
it.
Yeah.
And that always sucked because I'm like,
Oh.
I love the First Order, but I love Ula Shuka. So, like, what do I... But, okay.
Well, now canonically you can't.
I guess I can't.
I have to ask.
Well, or live in the tension.
I like that. I like
What
that
it
right
is.
there. I'm
What you
doing that.
play in your space headphones in your room, Colonel Tallis doesn't know about.
Exactly.
There you
Oh,
go.
He doesn't
There we
have
go.
to know. He doesn't have to.
I do have to ask on top of that, Captain's Table Night 2.
Mm.
There's when Lieutenant Croy, he's technically the captain at that time,
Yeah.
toasts, and he says something to Keevan like, "You're pretty good for a Pantoran." Is that always, or was that just Darkroy in the second voyage?
I feel like it's a little bit of a trade secret.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
But I
Fair.
will
Okay.
say,
Qui-Gon Jinn.
I think
Hit the
you
button.
could. Qui-Gon. I think that's one of the beauties of this show. The actors interpret.
Okay,
I think it's one of the risks of the show. The actors interpret.
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful risk.
But that was
though.
one of those
My God.
moments where obviously, like I said, I love the First Order and I love Croy. But when he said that, I was like, ooh, maybe I don't love this.
I put my
So,
drink down.
yeah.
I'm like, I did not
So
like
that was a
Yeah.
cool
We're all
moment
like,
to have.
yeah, like,
How cool that they could, you could get set up like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
what
set
a
me
This
up.
was the last hour of the experience.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, First Order, and then he says that. I'm like, ooh, maybe not First Order.
Well, stuff like that to me makes what we've done the last 2 days a little bit okay.
Yes,
Yep.
100%,
Very much okay,
100%. And you touched upon it earlier, where it's like Croy would be perfect for the Resistance. That comes up at the captain's table, where they both are like, Captain Keevan, you'd be perfect in the Order, and Keevan's like, well, you would be great in the Resistance. So it's like that same thing, where it's like, which side do I like? It's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Matt has a second part to the question. What character from Star Wars, not part of the Starcruiser storyline, would you want to come on for a voyage? Qui-Gon.
It wouldn't make sense in the time.
In the holocron.
He would
Yes,
be like,
the holocron
oh,
would be beautiful.
boring choice, but like good choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be like, do you want to just sit?
Dude,
on
can you
in the
imagine him
atrium?
in the sublight lounge, just like kick back? Just
Oh,
like,
he would get so drunk.
yeah. He'd be telling you
Oh,
about,
yeah.
hey, there's this
Qui-Gon.
prophecy. Hey, Elias, let me tell you about the prophecy. Like,
Oh, I'd be talking to him. Yeah.
I know.
Okay, we got a lot of really fun people coming as different things, and I will say I do love the deep cuts. Sometimes that's fun. We never got a Jar Jar, which I would
dang.
say to people.
Well, there's time.
I would be like, you give somebody a little task, the little things they could do on the console or something, and I'd be like, someone's here who's not on the manifest. I think we know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it away, but I would tell the kids to do that. And then I was like, and I also saw there's supposed to be a J.J. Binks, and they didn't show up. So let me know if they come by.
That's hilarious.
I
spectacular.
really want to buy a JJ Binks mask now and take it.
Oh my God.
This one we've kind of touched on, both those. Karen, so your question was kind of answered, and Dee Dee, your first two questions were answered. The last part is they want to thank you for truly finally thank them for truly enjoying and being a part of the Star Wars universe. So, I can't read.
Thank you.
Matthew Harmon literally just asked right now, when is the show? Because I said evening of. We're recording it right
They're
now, buddy.
asking for it
Yeah,
already?
yeah.
Jesus, people, relax.
I would
Must
be.
not
I
be
would be
force
too.
sensitive.
I know, right?
We had some on Instagram too.
Yeah, that's where I'm at now.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm
Okay.
kind of screening him a little
Okay,
bit too.
okay.
So if I stop talking or start to meander, just step in because I'm stupid.
No, you're good.
This says, no question. I just want them to know that those of us who have been moved by this experience are forever changed by it. They have truly created magic and should be proud to have been taking part in such a creative and groundbreaking endeavor. Much appreciation to the entire cast and crew. And that was Vacation Fairy Sarah that said that
Oh, yeah.
on Instagram.
Thank you.
She interacts with us a lot. Yeah.
This comes from Ryan Alexander. For someone about to make their first and unfortunately only visit on the Halcyon, what advice would you give for me to get the most out of the experience?
Good question.
Go listen to the episodes that we did.
But they don't know what Adam's
I'm
gonna say.
kidding.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would say just like live presently. I love hearing that you switched, you
Yes.
know. And also the first time y'all were kind of playing both sides, that's what I would do too.
Yeah.
I mean, not only is I'm a cheapskate, so you're going to want to get the most bang for your buck.
That's how I felt that time. I
That's
was like,
what we did.
I don't know if I'm going to get to do this again, so I want to do as
That's
much
what
as
Brad
I
and I
can.
did.
Yeah.
That's why we somehow made it home that day. We don't know how, but
Oh my
yeah.
God, that next day was
no.
rough.
They went to Hollywood Studios the next day.
Well, it was
I
May the
love
4th.
hearing
It was May the
y'all-
4th,
I loved
so-
hearing y'all talk
Yeah.
about the way that
Yeah.
you feel after you're done because it's
It's
for
exhausting.
real. Yeah, the food is decadent. The like you're not outside for a long
Right.
time.
The sun,
Your
like,
brain is
What is
feeling weird, and you're just so stimulated. And so you go home and you're like, why is someone not walking in front of me causing drama?
I know. I
went
try
up to
watch
the
TV
first
and-
door like after I left, and I'm like, oh, whoops.
I tried to open it this
No,
way.
dude, I'm not kidding. I
Yeah.
got to my front door and I was like, ah, shit, this is reality. I had to like do it the
Yeah.
right way instead of sliding it. It was upsetting.
Doors.
Yeah, I know.
Stupid house that's not in space.
No, stupid,
Right?
Stupid not space cabin.
I mean, we are in space. I mean,
Oh,
A rock
He's not wrong.
hurling through infinity. All right, let's go to the next one here. This is from Danny Fandoms. I like this question. What did you do to get in the mindset of the character?
ooh,
I don't want to give too basic of an answer, but I think in this role, the costume is everything. And, you know, I would try to be present with what I was doing as I put it on. And, you know, like literally some days I'd come in, I'd be like, I do not feel very Lieutenant Croy today. But you go in and this is where Disney, when they follow through with those details, when they give that support, they do it incredibly. So that costume was not only made for my body, but it's the part, I always say. And so in the case of the First Order and of Lieutenant Croy, I definitely think the costume. And, you know, and then you just get started. You just get started. That's the beauty of it.
That's awesome.
Because, you know, theater usually goes from 7:30 or 8 till 10, but we started around 3 or 4.
Yeah,
so
you do.
if you know, at some point you're going to click in.
You don't have a choice. It's let's go. The show must
that's
go on.
a spectacular way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we answered that one already. And then the last one from Danny Fandoms is, what will you miss most about the Halcyon? I think we kind of touched on it with the people side of it, but
I will give a very subjective answer, and I miss already. I miss not being able to do the thing that I'm so good at. It was such a blessing. It was such a blessing to come into such a multifaceted experience that I just happened to be right for, with the intersection of the character, the moment, how the quality of what this show is. So I literally miss living in it for 2 days. Is it exhausting? And, you know, I had to step away because it is literally too much to do. But I didn't wish to step away in its entirety because I do think that being there is a privilege and honor. It's amazing work. Does that mean it's perfect? Does that mean everything is happening the way it should? You know, interpret that as you will. But I miss doing it, and it's an amazing feat of performance art.
Yeah.
How
100%.
multifaceted, how much collaboration goes into it. I mean, the connectivity, that it's hard to come down from that at the end of the day, but it was still nice to have. So a good and a bad thing can happen at once.
Did you crash course hard in Star Wars before then? Like, are there certain things you picked up that you didn't pick up before?
Yeah, like you kind of. That's the beauty of expansive lores and never end. You know, you can always add anything into Star
It's
Wars.
true,
or
yeah.
That's one of my favorite things about it. It has a way about it that they can almost make
Right.
anything work.
Right.
So no, because I was already a fan. I just sort of kept it to the things that I liked, and then I hate to say this, but like theme park actor, it's evasion of someone who's going to back you into a corner is like 101. So
Okay.
I would never go toe to toe with somebody who really, really knew a lot. I know better than that,
Okay.
but I don't know nothing because I'm a kid and I loved it.
That's the beauty of the characters too, though. Like, you don't have to know who Watto is or Shmi Skywalker because Croy wouldn't know who those people are. So like, you don't have to know everything, but if you do, it's an added bonus.
I would always just say according to the history text that I studied, because I would get these kids to reenact the Obi-Wan and Anakin moment with the leg
The high
learnings.
ground. Yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh,
so
that's
I would
awesome.
have to come up with some BS reason about why I knew what that was. But it was worth it to see the kids, tell each other that they hate each other.
You're my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
Because of Obi-Wan.
There were
pretty
some other
great.
ones too, but I feel like some of them may have crossed the line, so I don't.
Yeah, I noticed
so
that
I
some
got,
of
I
the
got
ones
one on
crossed.
Instagram, but
Okay.
it's not a question. It's just more praise from, I hope I say this right, Dragon Husks. I don't know if that's how you say it, but
Sounds right to me.
right. He says, no question here, just thank you for what you did for us. So just more praise and support.
It's all of our pleasure. I hope I've made that so just inordinately clear. I loved doing work where I could be with my audience. And I haven't done a stage play since, but I imagine it's going to be boring as hell. And I'm going to wish that I could change the script or be with the people. So I don't know if I can do it anymore, to be honest. But I'm going to bank and put a lot of faith in that this work is only beginning. And I hope to see all of the audience members that we got to share time with again at some other juncture. I think we will. And if you ever see me in the future, bring it up, say something. I want you to say hi. I want to connect about this. It's a high point in all our memories.
Yes, it is.
I'm lucky. I'm honored. I mean, I think that doesn't even quite cut it. And some people might be surprised to hear me say such a thing because I did a lot of fighting, but I still think that it's a truly exceptional moment in Disney's history and in entertainment's history.
I always said it was like the theme park's Mary Poppins, because like in Disney history, Mary Poppins was like the culmination of everything that Walt had learned up to that point, and I kind of felt like the Halcyon was that for the parks.
I always said Lieutenant Croy was the Mary Poppins of Star Wars.
yes.
because he is.
Especially when there
mean-
were a lot of kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
It is.
Yep.
As
He
we're
is prim and proper and practically perfect in every way.
as we're kind of moving things along here and kind of getting closer to the end, is there anything you would like? Because I know a lot of people who love the Halcyon, listen to us, have found us through the Halcyon. We've made so many connections on the ship. Like the times we've gone, we've found so many great people, like-minded people. Is there anything you want to say to them? Like last thing, like the kind of like a final, not final words, but like the floor is yours. You know, this is kind of your way to close it out.
I think I would tie it into something I already said, which was I think I'm not saying let's not mourn, let's not be sad, but I think we can be happy and grateful for what was, and know that it's not supposed to live forever, And again, that makes it sweeter, that makes it more special, and that leaves us more room for what the next thing is, because the lesson in this work is like accept the now, be present, be joyous, connect with people, which I could say it slower and more emphatic, because isn't that an issue? Like, don't you think that we're always going to have different opinions, and I would never try to change or take someone's. We still have to be together, and we are disconnected. So we used to be better about making space for everybody, but now it's so easy to not connect with people, and then that makes it easier to not make space for them. So isn't that what's so beautiful about this work? And you could even have your phone in your hand the whole time,
Yep.
and you're still getting super connected. So I'm not even going to go so far as to say like we have to put them away completely. We just have to remember that we are organic, We need that type of connectivity, and it's always going to trump everything beyond the windowed space screen, beyond the 46 hours of simulated content, beyond the curated meals. Like, we just want meals. We just want food. We just people food too, not cannibalism, but
Well, I
connectivity.
mean, to your point, I mean, that's what we've been harping on since we've been, is that the people make the experience.
And that's the whole message of even the voyage too. Like Tabuite is savor the moment, so that's a whole thing in the whole ship. And
you
like
would know that.
they tell you what it is.
They do tell you.
He's
yeah.
listening to the captain.
I'm too busy drinking in the subway
Oh,
lounge to know.
when they do the toast, I died when I saw your reaction to drinking. Oh, it is so hilarious.
I don't remember that. What happened?
Just like a sour
Disdain.
disdain. Like, oh, this is terrible. Yeah.
Well, you know, sugary mocktails are a real danger to our children.
Well,
People
That's
should
true.
be warned.
Yes.
sugary mocktails. There you go.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Let's wrap it up,
fellas.
sir.
Wait, can I ask y'all a question?
Oh,
Absolutely.
please.
Like,
Please
'cause,
do.
you know, this is your podcast, but that was, our show.
Absolutely.
The company's show, but, you know, it did close. Like, I want to hear, you guys were half of the experience for us. So, and I know you hadn't really, and you probably do it in another episode, but talk to me a little bit about it. Is that okay?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
You have 6 hours.
Yes.
Let's
I'm
let Evan go.
unemployed. Just
Let's
gotta
let
go
you
home
go
and play
first, because
Zelda.
I know you have.
Okay.
We all have strong thoughts and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
but you're
but-
far and away the one screaming off the roof,
Yeah.
yelling at the satellites.
Yeah, I can't say anything that hasn't already been said, but I tried to find more like personal ways to talk about it, because it kind of like I've said before, it's like my happy place, and like that sounds generic and like silly, but like Tom said it, like when you're there, you don't worry about anything, you don't think about anything, and that's the most like at home I've ever felt anywhere. Even the very first time I stepped in it, never seen it in my life, but I was like, oh, this is home. It like felt right, and it's brought things out of me I didn't know. Like I didn't know I was good at like making costumes, and I didn't know I was creative at like making up a
costumes were
character.
awesome.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I feel like the first ones were kind of sketchy, but the second voyage was so much better, I thought. But that's what it brought out
Everything
of me.
you did was good. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. But it taught me like telling my character story isn't coming up to you and being like, "Hi, my name is this. I'm from this planet. I do this. I fly this ship." It's what am I wearing? What's my name? Okay, that's really all you need to know. And it's
The
taught me that.
being rather than
Yeah.
the saying.
Yeah. So like I just realized I was good at coming up with character. I'm more creative than I thought, basically, and it brought that out of me.
Yeah.
So losing that, like you said, is probably honestly it's kind of a good thing, because like you said, it's kind of shining so bright, you know, and to have it go forever, it might have got diluted over time. So
It
maybe
would've.
it's yeah.
Well,
Can
I mean,
I respond to that?
Please.
Yeah.
Just briefly, but you know, that's what I want everyone to know. Like, so you've discovered that there, but where was its ultimate root? Within yourself.
Yeah.
So they gave you the space to do that, but now the ultimate lesson is giving yourself the space, giving other people the space to do so. Let the unleashing begin. You know.
Yeah.
And I hope that you feel empowered to make that space for yourself to continue to evolve and grow like that.
Yeah,
That's what this work does.
And it's the community that's created too. Like you've talked about meeting people on the ship, but meeting people on Facebook and Instagram that love it and have discovered things about themselves too because of it. That's just the power of it. Like
So cool.
The comics, as nerdy as it is, are called Halcyon Legacy, but I think that's the legacy of the Halcyon is the community it's made and bringing things out of us that we all didn't know we had.
Deep.
Going back to it possibly getting diluted. The rumor is that there are people like on board as of this past week, or the week before, and they were talking about retooling it. I get you don't want something to become stale, because then it's like, especially for you guys, man, I can't imagine how that. I mean, I'm sure you have your own methods and stuff of making it not feel stale over time, but I feel like changing it in any way from the core story would have changed the experience, and this is we're never gonna know, but I feel like it was perfect.
It
was.
The Halcyon doesn't get stale. It doesn't get stale.
Interesting. Incredible.
Because of what it is. Like, I want to honor that. I want to honor that's like the real success of it too. Because never once did I feel that. Maybe sometimes I was tired. I did lose 40 pounds in the run.
Holy
Holy
Yeah.
crap!
My brain ate my butt. and
Brain ate my butt.
I think towards the end I literally had no more reserves, so I was really tired, and I just kept saying, I was like, I think I'm a leaky battery, like I'm just the
I was
acid's
bitching about
coming
2
in.
days.
But
Oh, well, I know, right? Yeah, jeez.
God.
that it was never still. I was never bored. I was
That's wild to me.
never unentertained or disengaged. If anything, it's on the other side of that. you
Wow.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I'm sad because I feel like it's made us closer. Like
Yeah.
when you and me went, we were friends.
I'm
and
jealous.
we
Like,
were
you
on the
got to do
show,
it together twice now.
but like we had never hung
Jealousy.
out that much. Like especially that long of a stretch. Like usually for the most part, you come and we hang out and like
Yeah.
again, we're friends. And everyone knows that.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But like we had never hung
Sure,
out for more
yeah,
than
yeah.
a couple
I'm
hours
with
at
you.
a time, and then we're spending 3 days together.
For sure.
It made us closer.
Absolutely
And it's
it
like,
did.
again,
Yeah.
it gave us the opportunity and the time to do that. It wasn't necessarily it, but
Which
it
we
gave
can, we
us
can
the
still
room
hang
to
out
do it.
together for 3 days. It doesn't have to be aboard the Halcyon.
Exactly.
Just, yeah, like you said, do that without the Halcyon.
Without the Halcyon. It's,
Yeah.
it's not, I mean, it is it, but it's not it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be never again because it's closing.
I've never.
I love your take on it. I never
Yeah.
really thought about it.
It's a brilliant way of
Well,
thinking.
that's what they did. That's the genius of these creators. People say a lot of stuff about the company, right? There's tons of opinions about it. So I'll just state the fact: the thing that they made was monumental, and really cool. And it wasn't like the other work I've done at other parks and other moments where it could even. I mean, Edge didn't really feel that way. We closed, I think, before it could have.
Yeah.
But I for COVID, not closed permanently, but
right.
what I wanted to say was I've never been closer with a cast. I've never genuinely, earnestly loved my ensemble as much. I think it has to do with the nature of the work and the environment.
That's incredible.
And you can see that on Instagram. I've seen pictures of you
Oh,
with
yeah.
the other actors and just like all the different settings. It's not just, hey, we're hanging out in Galaxy's Edge because we're here for work, but we're also hanging out. No, it's like you guys were just hanging out everywhere together.
You guys
And
are
the joy in your faces.
We are Star Wars canon. We are. We say that, and that's a big deal to us.
He woke up at 5 a.m. and drank water for 3
He's
hours.
standing there sweating.
Shower number 8.5.
Sweating
into
out
a
the
force.
alcohol he drank the night before and stuff like that.
For me, for me, it's I turned to Evan and said to him on walking out of our last voyage, I can't wait to take Lily, my daughter, and my wife Courtney on this. I mean, I can potentially take Courtney on this before it closes, but every day goes by, she does get more pregnant. So it's
Yeah.
and it's like, and I've accepted it and been fine that Lily's not going to see that, right? I'm going to regale tales, and I'm still going to I'm going to buy the Rey outfit for her, show her, Galaxy's Edge. But it's, I think I need to, especially after hearing your version of it and talking with you, like to be able to just think about those memories, having that, and just sharing that, with my family, as Lily grows up as like a just special moment, like, yeah, Dad got to do this, and just share that with her, make her excited about it instead of like dwelling about it, right? Because we had those memories. And I moved to Orlando from Phoenix in 2021, and I don't know if I ever told you this, guys. I would have not been able to do the Halcyon if I didn't live in Florida.
Yeah.
Same
If
with
I
me.
stayed
There's
in
no way.
Phoenix,
Oh,
if I
yeah.
stayed in Phoenix, there'd be no way,
Yeah.
because we would want to come out for our typical week, and that was about the same I would have paid for the Halcyon.
Yeah.
So it's just very very fortunate about it. Disappointed. I have my
I'm
thoughts.
heartbroken, but
Yeah.
Yep.
it's not. I'm very happy I got to experience it twice, potentially a third time. I think
It's happening.
It's gonna depend on what happens
This
tomorrow.
time tomorrow we'll know.
I
Yeah.
have my thoughts about like why Disney gave up so quick. Like you couldn't, half of what you gave Chapek, on his little payout. But we won't go there. We won't. It's. I'll just say it.
We'll
I'll
talk
just
about
say
that
it
on
at
another
Yeah,
episode.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll just say it at that.
Yeah, I wish they hadn't given up on it, but flash in the pan. It's lightning in a bottle.
They do love to do that reminder of like, you may think this is yours, but this is ours.
Yeah.
About once a year
it's not
now,
a
I
wall
feel like. They started Great Movie Ride was one of the first ones, and then, everything in Epcot.
I
and
truly
then,
am
like,
okay with a great movie ride
I'm not.
replacement.
The
I
One-Away
know.
Railway Train is so fun.
I
Yes.
love it.
Fun,
I-
yes, but it's not great.
I think I wish they would have hung on to it, because then once they acquired Fox, you could have opened up a whole nother.
Oh, I know.
You
Yeah.
know,
Build the
right.
Runaway Railway in the animation
Yeah.
courtyard.
Yeah.
that
And American Idol. They own
montage-
American Idol now.
I always remember the ride itself, but that montage before the movie ride,
I
that was what was
love it.
really
In the
good.
queue,
True.
just watching it on
Yeah.
the screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
I miss that ride. I
Same.
love it too. But
I
I see.
But
what you
they
mean.
remind us about once a year, hey, the thing you love, it's gone.
Well, maybe we put we are starting now to make the space as the people, the beloved who loved it, which is just such I think what a small niche thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
We'll put the space out there for there to be something else that will provide Lily the opportunity to have her version
It's true.
and your version together
Mm-hmm.
in the future. And, I don't think you can't go back from this. So
Yeah.
I think,
Agreed.
I think it's just, but people speculate about Disney all the time, so I don't participate in that act.
Right.
But
It's probably smart for your mental health.
I-
So
I'm
I'm probably going to stop too.
I'm going to make the space to just hope that this work continues to bloom, blossom, maybe even outside of just this company, although I think they did it incredibly with the production in itself. And yeah, I hope to see somebody at another immersive project somewhere.
Yeah.
That's right.
Beautiful.
Dude.
Thank you on behalf of the whole show. Thank you for coming
Absolutely.
on. Man,
Thank
this
you.
is cooler
Yeah.
to us than you could imagine.
It's
This
cool
is
for
really
me
cool.
too. I've always wanted to. I've never gotten this moment to talk about the show as Adam. We'll see if I reap any consequences from that, but that's okay.
We'll
I
take those
appreciate-
bullets for you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate the space to do so. In like
open
Anytime,
invitation.
by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you got to do is say the word.
feel free
Yeah.
to reach out anytime.
Yeah. As much as we like hanging out with you in person, even if you just want to call, like we can do that too. Like,
I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
In the Nordic LARPs and the more traditional stuff and where a lot of this stuff is based in, although the Galactic Starcruiser is not a LARP. I know I use that term a lot. There's LARPing, but more is going on. You get time to decompress with the bad guy the next day. You don't have to leave. And this is where I'm saying you need to take care of people. You get that time that we're doing right now in our own time. It benefits me as well. So
Yes.
I just want to say that I appreciate it. I wanted to, in my departure from the show, I wished for a nicer ribbon, bow, whatever you want it, punctuation. So that's what I saw this as. So I appreciate y'all giving me the space to do
100%.
so.
Anytime. We're happy to have
Absolutely.
This has been
Beyond.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Probably
it-
my best Jedi Talk moment.
Oh,
So-
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Right on.
This is-
too.
Well, it doesn't get any better. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is
it.
as good
It
as it
just
gets.
goes
I wouldn't
down
go
from
back and
here.
listen anymore.
Well,
Hold
we'll
on.
get Qui-Gon Jinn.
Hey,
Qui-Gon
yes,
Jinn.
Qui-Gon.
There you go. Oh, man.
All right. This was cathartic.
Yeah.
Cathartic
in
in
a
a
way.
I honestly feel so much better now than I did 2 hours ago.
Good. I was. I'm not being funny. I was worried about you.
No, I've had so many people reach out to me. Like, I'm known as like the housing guy. Even at work, people are like, hey, I saw your post. Like, you don't want to do this anymore or this anymore. Are you okay? And
It
like-
was for you, Evan, not you for it. It
Yeah.
was for you. So, you do what you need to do in your grievance, but
Yeah. This helps so
It
much,
only built
but-
you up, made you stronger.
yeah.
Love it. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you on the next episode. Until then, stay safe. May the Force be with you.
Always and good journey.
Rise, Jedi Knight. Adam, I'll give you the last word.
Good journey. Buongiorno.